And welcome everybody
to a clusterfuck of a show.
The clusterfuck is real. Episode 117 is back for the Fat Guys on Little Podcast. I'm your co-host Steve, and always joined by
Charles is here somewhere. I don't know what's going on.
So Charles is somewhere. And BV, how you doing over there in Chicagoland?
BV muted himself.
No, you muted yourself.
Oh yeah, no, I muted myself because when I checked to make sure that the Facebook live feed is up. When I switch to the page,
okay, great.
It plays the audio, and I don't want it to.
No one wants to know how the sausage is made. BV, just go.
We got a Mr. Bergeron watching us. How you doing, Scott? I see you out there watching us. So this week we're doing everything remotely for reasons
that we can't discuss.
Yeah, undisclosed reasons.
And let me just tell you, it's not me and BV. It's one of the assholes here, and it's not me and BV.
Yeah, it's some other retard. Today we got some interesting looks at things. More COVID, of course, more sports.
Including our show is COVID-ridden.
Yeah, COVID everywhere. And then we got a very unique taste test this week. Bill, did you find the dry milk?
I didn't even know where it was or what it was from, so no.
Oh, okay.
BB, how are we supposed to participate in our broke-ass youth? What's going on?
You're not going to worry about the dry milk? All right, so let's start off this
Next week we're trying welfare cheese.
I don't know where we're going to find that. So, first, the beginning of the week on Tuesday, we previewed it last week. The presidential debate happened. How excited and how entertained was anybody when they're watching this debate this past week?
Well, I made a point to watch it. I watched it on Fox, which is the original, whatever, the purveyor of the debate and everything like that. It was a cluster. Golly. Like, we knew it was going to be wrestling, but, like, to watch it in firsthand, like, it was just, he had no control over whatever Trump was just doing whatever the hell he wanted to do. It's pretty crazy. BB, you got thoughts?
It was an absolute total shit show. I mean, there was no point. I was watching it about 10 minutes in. I was texting with some people from work, and I said, you know what? If I'm Biden right now, I just put my foot down and say, look, if this doesn't stop, I'm out. And then a couple minutes later, when he kept on, I just walked off. There was really no point in continuing.
Yeah, but you want to prevail with a cool head. You don't want to. Yeah. If you start to look rattled and like annoyed, like the country's gonna say, well, what would he do in wartime if he can't even handle like one guy berating him?
Well, that's why I'm a lawyer and not a politician.
Okay, great.
I will say that was the best reality show I've seen in 2020.
Yeah,
it was hard to watch.
And then, like, the fact that, and people keep going on and on about it, but, like, just denounce the goddamn racist group. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
They kept putting it on a T for him, and he kept ignoring it. Like, what are you doing? Just say, like, I'm not with it. Okay.
Well, the other one was Biden wouldn't say, I support the law enforcement. So he wouldn't say that either. So both of them were being weird. I don't know. I was waiting for an elbow drop. Somebody had to jump off the podium and drop an elbow.
You're waiting for Trump to break out the people's elbow, dude?
There probably won't be another debate with the whole COVID thing now and the time frame that they have set up, or if they do, it'll be set up weird. But and Trump's already said that if they try to change the rules, they were talking about giving the moderators a chance to kill the mics or whatever. What I would like to see, and I'd pay-per-view this, put either those Zap Bark collars on them, or like the beat chip in the episode of South Park with Cartman, when every time he swore, it just zapped the shit out of him. He's like, yeah, and then just put it on both of them, and every time they interrupt, just zap the shit out of them.
Okay, because I'm sure multi-millionaire Trump's down for getting popped, but he won't shut up.
And they're both in the 70s, so would they die after the first zap?
Yeah. I don't know.
It'd be funny.
I can't see it though.
Are you guys gonna watch the vice presidential one? Isn't that coming up this week? Are you guys gonna watch that
Tuesday.
at all?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
If I remember, I don't know.
I knew to watch the Trump one. I knew the Trump one was gonna go crazy. That's why I made sure I had to watch the Trump one.
If I wanted to see anything from Pence, I would go to Home Depot in the wood section because he's as stiff as a piece of wood.
No,
I don't need.
but make sure you
he's
take a
most-
Bible with you when you do it.
Yeah. Put a Bible on a 2x4.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mike
there
Pence.
you go.
If you're
And hit a
interested in
gay
hearing
guy
about-
with it. Yeah.
If you're interested in hearing anything about actual issues, so that's probably the only chance you're going to get.
Yeah, but
That's true.
I don't like.
That's not why I tuned in, not for the issues. I wanted to see the craziness. That's what I
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
So personally, going into it, I got exactly what I wanted.
I gotta tell, I thought the moderator guy, although a Fox News guy, did the best he could with a complete dumpster
Well,
fire of a debate. I don't know,
they were running over that little guy. They were not
Yeah.
listening to him at all.
Oh, I'm not saying
Someone-
he did, but I'm just saying for the circumstances, you got the president of the United States going full WWE. Like, what do you do in that scenario?
Yeah, I swear to God.
And for a Fox News reporter, Chris Wallace seems to be probably the least, yes men like
Yeah,
reporter.
he's
on
not
that
Tucker
station.
Carlson,
So,
is what you're saying.
yeah,
I
he'll
get that.
he'll challenge both sides
Yeah,
equally.
he seemed to do pretty good. I had no issue with the Fox Newsness of it and all that stuff. Like, man, what a
There
it
was-
was must see TV.
There was a push online where they wanted Scott mentioned it, where they wanted Joe Rogan to actually moderate it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Moderate it, sorry. But that'd be interesting.
Well,
So
what's
that
he going to do though? What's he going to go? Trump doesn't shut up, so he goes on stage and puts him in an anaconda choke or something.
I have no idea.
Funny as hell, but it's not like it would ever happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
gotta
think
do it
that they
now.
need to do some kind of like how the forum we have like today, where it's almost like not a Zoom thing, because obviously like the whole world, but like I'm saying like where you can literally like just light up the boxes for who can speak at any given time. And yeah, it's you need to have like that push pull of it, because it went off the rails hard.
Well, leaving the debate later this week, our president in charge got none other than COVID.
Yeah.
So the guy who was anti-mask and anti-everything.
He even ripped on old boy during the debate for wearing a mask. I was like, wow.
Yeah, and he ripped on him about his rallies, how nobody wanted to go to him and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So now, is he going to live through this? Is the first question I have for you guys.
I think he's gonna have to. You've got the might of every U.S. doctor, and I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like, just stop. But the problem I see with this, and this is just Trump's gonna make it seem like it was no big deal. Like, what's everyone talking about? Like, I had it, and it was, it's like, yeah, but you had how many doctors around the clock monitoring everything?
Like Michelle said, if he comes out of this, he's going to think he's God.
Yeah, I mean, that's really.
Look at, I'm 77 and overweight, came out fine.
No problem,
This
He
thing's
has a
only
team of
bullshit.
8 doctors.
He has a team of how many? 8, you said?
Eight doctors.
Jeez.
Now, there's been kind of conflicting reports coming through. Of course, what Trump's people put out and what the media is catching seems to differ. Of course, there's the discussion about how long he actually had it and tested positive for it before he announced it, which they're saying it could have been as many as 3 or 4 days ago, and then he might have had it going into the debate, known it, and not told anybody. He also had an event afterwards, I think on Wednesday, with the public. One of the journalists in the White House, sort of like the correspondence group, had put up, Jim Acosta had actually put up a tweet earlier that stated that they'd gotten a quote from sources that were familiar with it that said that his vitals over the last 24 hours were concerning, and that the next 48 hours would be really important about how it goes. So he might not be doing quite as well as the doctors are reporting to the public right now.
Jeez.
That's crazy. I don't know, man. This whole week to me has been a reminder as we sit digitally in a digital room that like this shit's not going away real quick, man.
Yeah,
and you're gonna
this
touch
week
on
is-
a handful of people. I put one on there, and like it's rippling through the sports world, the politics world.
Yeah, before we hit the NFL, but also Disney World. My stock in Disney is slowly plummeting, laying off 28,000 workers this coming week because of the COVID and the slow business and everything else. So Disney's starting to feel the pinch.
Yeah, but not
right?
whatever. But like those 28,000 people are like 2/3 of them are college kids that they pay barely above minimum wage. That they, you know what I mean? Like it's such a shady way that all those parks like have. So yeah, they're gonna lay out 30,000 people. Not good, but at the same time, like 2,000 of them make a real wage. Every one of them are like seasonal BSers.
Kind of straddling both as far as the time frame too. There was one of the major, I can't remember which one it was, but one of the major pharmaceutical labs that are working on these.
Moderna, I think, is the one that.
Yeah, came out and finally said, look, anyone that thinks you're actually going to have a vaccine for this next month is crazy. Like realistically, the earliest you're going to see it's probably middle of next year.
Yeah, crazy.
Which anyone with any common sense probably already knew, but
yeah.
Did you guys? We got our flu shot. BV, did you get your flu shot? You go and get. Your
I didn't
flu
get
shot?
mine.
You didn't get yours, Steve. BV, did you go get your flu shot?
I have an appointment for it this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They told me to wait till the end of the month.
Well, I was told that October for the 6-month window of the flu season, so that's why we went.
The lady told me I should wait till the end of the month because the flu season is so long that it'll last longer in me if I wait till the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's not very strong right now. Anyway, that's what the lady told me. I was like, all right.
I'd also read this week, too, that considering all of the precautions nationwide that people are taking, that the expectation is that the flu season will be one of the weaker seasons of of recent history because
everyone's doing what they need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it shouldn't transmit as much, but they also stress the importance of taking a flu shot because if you get the misfortune of having COVID and flu on top of each other, it could be deadly.
Great, you get the double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, no one wants a double whammy.
So we leave the regular COVID world and go into the sports world, and now the NFL has finally gotten hit. They've been dodging it for a while, but they got hit. The Titans, first up, got hit pretty bad. What they have, almost 9 to 10 people could test positive.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Pittsburgh, being the wusses they are, didn't want to play a team. Didn't want to play a bunch of people.
No one riddled with COVID.
What a bunch of panties.
Your president wants you to play. Get out there and play.
I mean, hell, Trump brought the Big Ten football back.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
debate,
right?
So
According
why can't
to
he get them to play too?
Yeah.
So, but so both teams end up with a bye week this week, and then they're going to reschedule for the 25th of October, I think it was.
How did that work out, by the way? Like, were they both on the same bye? I wondered how that worked out. Yeah.
The reschedule it affects 3 teams. Somehow it affects the Ravens too.
Oh,
and
okay.
it screws your team the most. They lose their Pittsburgh's bye was supposed to be week 8. Now it's now. And now they're going to have to face Titans and Ravens back to back.
Ooh, okay.
So lucky Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then also, breaking news today, Cam Newton, BV's favorite quarterback, if you can't see through his head.
Yeah. BV's got dreads right now. It's kind of a good thing.
Cam Newton comes down with COVID now, but they're only going to postpone this game to Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, they said kind of, yeah. Oh, is that what you heard?
Well, it depends on if any others, if there's any more positive, because there's also a quarterback on the, was it Jordan Ta'amu? He's a rookie. He was with Ole Miss last year, on the practice squad for the Chiefs, and he also tested positive. So at this point, it looks like they're playing Tuesday, but
it's spreading between both locker rooms, is what.
And this irritates me even more so than I mean, first of all, Cam getting COVID to me is kind of funny because fuck Cam, but at the same time,
Bill has some hated quarterbacks too. It's not just me with hated quarterbacks.
I will hate Scam Newton until the day I die. But anyway, but DraftKings and pretty much every sports book in the country immediately took the game off the boards, which had a material effect on my lock of the week. So, I mean, Chiefs playing the Patriots at home without Scam is kind of a no-brainer. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So the NFL's getting hit, but they did get a game in Thursday. And does anyone care right now? The Jets and Broncos.
Well, I gotta tell you though, the one thing that came from this was they're still blaming the turf at that stadium, dude. They're still they're going at it again, man. They're gonna end up ripping the turf out of that stadium.
Dudes were going. I unfortunately, I mean, this was almost as hard to watch as the debate. I watched the game.
Oh.
Yeah, people were going down like crazy. It was sloppy as all hell. It just really was. Penalties all over the place. I think the Jets had like 6 personal foul penalties on defense.
Jeez.
I think 4 or 5 of them are roughing the passer.
They didn't shake hands at the end of the game because of all the personal fouls and everything. Like, yeah,
Oh, it was was it Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, just walked off the field.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly stuff.
Yeah, it was really bad football.
Oh, well, the final score is Broncos 37.
No one
28.
cared. That was the best part. Steve's like, it was 2 0-3 teams. No one gave 2 shits about.
Nobody watched it.
That may have been the game for the #1 pick of the draft.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that had to be the lowest rated game of the week, right? I can't see any other game that nobody else cared about. Even like sports guys on the radio were like, yeah, I don't care. So there you go for that one. Now let's go into a little college today. I didn't see too many great games.
Too many great games. There were great games on paper, I would argue. Yeah, there was a lot going into the weekend to be looking forward to.
Well, Texas A&M and them boys with Jimbo. Bill, why don't you recap that game against Alabama since you seem to be watching Alabama?
I'll just say that the game ended 52-24 Bama.
Yeah.
Oh,
that should tell you about all you need to know about the game. Actually, this is kind of typical of a lot of the recent Bama. I have a bad habit of calling them ATM because I just don't like Texas A&M. But where they have opportunities early on and just make mistakes, and they first drive of the game, they move down the field, they get stalled. Guy hooks like a 30-yard field goal, misses. Then they hold Bama. Their first was in a 3rd and long, and they proceed to throw a 78-yard touchdown pass on like 3rd and 9. They were trying to make some kind of a comeback early in the 3rd quarter. They had a 4th down play and a running back that came out like on a little bit of a little circle route into the middle of the field, dropped an easy pass that would have went for the 1st down and possibly a touchdown. They had some opportunities. They probably still would have lost, but it should have been a lot closer. But A&M was just putting their own feet in their mouth on a regular basis.
So now Florida State almost lost to Jacksonville State. I think they just took the lead 28-24 right before the podcast started. That's an FCS team. That's who Notre Dame plays next week. So I'm feeling pretty good about Florida State game. North Carolina put away Boston College, which has actually ended up being a close game.
That was on TV, I want to say, too. It was an ABC game.
Yeah. Ended up 26-22. It was 24-22. Boston College scored, went for 2, got picked, and North Carolina took it to the house for 2 points. So 26-22. Matt Brown got in North Carolina playing pretty good. So the big ones tonight, and that's in about 6 minutes. Georgia and Auburn. Bill, who do you like in that and why?
Well, neither one of them looked all that great last week, but probably I think Georgia overall is better players, a little bit better team. I think a pretty close game. I'd pick Georgia.
And you got to make sure Georgia wins a bunch of games and then drops one late in the year, because that's the Georgia formula for all things. Yeah. I mean, everyone gets super hyped on Georgia and then they shit the bed somewhere. They do it every year. So it's not their time to lose, but I don't know about Gus's hot seat, so we'll see.
I know. When Gus is on the hot seat, he might win this one. I don't know. Because that's a big game tonight. That's the one everyone's looking forward to.
It's a good game. That's a real good game.
Yeah.
I thought the Texas A&M game was going to be much better than it was.
Well, it was good for about 5 minutes.
Great. A solid 5 minutes of football for the season.
Are you ready to give up on Jimbo yet?
No, man. Jimbo got them boys playing.
He did have defensive boys.
Yeah, okay, man. We all know the Bama cheats, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's pure jealousy.
Yeah.
Not my fault that Notre Dame doesn't cheat as well.
They need to cheat better.
Yeah.
All right, so that's good. That's the college, and then so the NHL, they are the first official league to have a bubble champion, and their bubble champion.
Bubble hockey's over.
Their bubble boy hockey champion is the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a marketing thing in there. They could sell some bubble boys with Tampa Bay and Dallas on there, but they won their last game 2-0 over Dallas. I did watch that final game. Typical hockey. I mean, it was okay. It was really weird watching.
We recap this every week. Every week we go, okay. No one really watches it.
The weirdest thing about it was watching the team celebrate with no crowd. It's how weird.
Just skating around all quietly.
I mean, you hear them yelling and screaming, but then there's like nothing else. It's like it was so odd.
You don't get a parade or nothing either, because obviously. Oh man, yeah. Steve brings up a good point. Awkward championships during all.
Yeah. So, congratulations, Tampa Bay Lightning. Of course, around
no
here,
one cared, but congratulations.
Well, around here, everyone's pumped because Steve Yzerman's the one to put this team together, and now Steve Yzerman is the GM of the Red Wings, and they feel he's going to put the Red Wings back on track.
Because that translates. Remember that time you put together the other team? Can you put together our team?
I'm just telling you, people are excited for that. So, and then also on the NBA, the other Bubble Boy championships, the Lakers are actually up 2 games to none, not 1 game, over the Heat. The problem is the Miami Heat, any chance they had, disappeared when half their team got hurt. Yeah. So the major star got hurt. Jimmy Butler sprained an ankle or a knee, I don't remember which. They got a lot of guys hurt. And the Lakers have kind of cruised the first 2 games. I watched both games. The game.
But then the Heat's coach is still out there like, I don't care who's not giving us a chance. I'm like, I'm pretty sure everyone's not giving you a chance right now.
Yeah.
You weren't given a chance before everyone got hurt.
Yeah. When it's hurt, you're screwed.
4-2-0, 4-2-0.
Yeah.
What is this? Good to go.
What is this? This is LeBron's 4th championship. Is it number 4 or 5? I think
it's 4.
2 with Miami, 1 with
Cleveland,
and now 1 with the Lakers. But he's been to like 10 or 11 finals. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So
is he on your Mount Rushmore, BV? Is he on the BV NBA Mount Rushmore?
Has to be.
Probably.
Ooh, man, BV barely put him on there. I think
it's close though. What do you? How do you decide who goes on Rushmore? Just because
it's your Rushmore, BV. You can decide whatever factors you want to.
He might be the most talented player ever. I mean, as far as accomplishments are concerned, would I put him in the top 4? Maybe. I mean, if obviously Jordan has to be there. I think Bill Russell, just from all the championships he won, has to be there. And then your other 2, it's who do you put there?
Wilt Chamberlain, because he fucked all them chicks. Is that what he's going?
That's as good a reason as anyone. But I mean,
he gets a Washington Monument. He doesn't get him out.
Yeah, it's close.
Steve, you got him on yours?
Oh yeah, him and Jordan. But then I'm putting Shaq and Barkley just because I find those 2 entertaining.
That's the weirdest NBA.
Okay.
Hey, it's my Mount Rushmore. I got the claim.
Yeah, you stick to it, Steve.
Shaq and Barkley.
I think that
at least I'm gonna laugh.
I think the one thing, the one knock against LeBron is that modern NBA-ness of it, where he kept manipulating the situation to make it too easy for him to win. And that's always what kind of gives me pause on like saying he's on that Mount Rushmore for me.
And when you go back to that, right, that's it's starting basically with that Heat team. In fact, maybe even the mid 2000s Celtics when they had Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen together. This whole era of the super team where stars all manipulate things to get their contracts to play together, and and that's I mean maybe obviously I'm a crotchety old school type person when it comes to sports, but like I thought it was nice when all the kind of older players came out and trashed them all when they started doing this, because the difference between someone like LeBron and say Jordan or whatever is that Jordan would have never done that. He would have been like, I'm going to beat these fools.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like get past your rival. Don't just try to team up with them so that you don't have to deal with them. Yeah. They talked about it in that documentary that BV didn't like that much, that Jordan documentary about how you just don't play.
Really?
So there you go. As a look at all of our little basketball knowledge. Apparently Wiggs is really big into basketball this year. He's been watching a lot of it.
Good for him.
Different.
He's gotten away from hockey and more into basketball. So that's what he told me today.
Good for him.
All right. So let's go. Now, Charles, why don't you tell everyone a story of how you came up with this taste test
dude.
Dry milk.
I can't see my cameras. I don't want to blow it out. But yeah, I got the same dry milk. So when you grow up broke as asses, Steve and I did, and I'm sure that people would look at it and say we still had white privilege and all that kind of stuff. But like, we grew up relatively broke, and Steve's got a blender bottle. First of all, wow, fancy. I remember, and I talked to my wife about how we always had dry milk as a kid. Like if we called it powdered milk, I don't know if Steve remembered that, but it was always like how we called it. And it tasted like shit. It was never, and as I mixed it, I realized our problem. No one measured shit. You know what I mean? Like, so
our mother never measured anything when she
Nope.
cooked. And this is the same woman that burnt spaghetti noodles, and I didn't think that was possible.
So
Because you're boiling them.
I figured we would just do a little homage because I wanted my wife and kid to also try it. And I'm sure Steve wanted his wife and kid to get a little taste of what it was like to grow up on Detroit Street in the Markey household. So we would use this in like everything too, Steve. You remember that? Like we would use it.
Now full disclosure, this was early on. When we got a little older, this stuff went away. But what happened was our grandmother Markey was on assisted living, and she would get the cheese and the powdered milk and the breads and whatever, and she'd always give us, for whatever reason, the milk and the cheese. So we can't really find the brick of cheese, so we have the powdered milk.
And I made some up. Steve made some up. We want to try. BB didn't have a chance to go and nab some up, but I figured we would give it a shot.
Now, if you're going to buy this at Kroger, it's down the baking.
Well, hold on. Ask BV how much he thinks that box costs, because I was a little bit taken aback too.
I'm going to guess $4.
$4.50 is roughly.
Yeah,
what
I thought it was because I'm like, you could buy a gallon of milk for way less than this.
Yeah, so this is the pouch, and each pouch makes about 3 cups or 3 3/4 cups.
Yeah.
So I swear you get more milk buying a gallon of milk.
The value's not there.
It also keeps longer. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You buy a gallon of milk, you have so many days it's gone. But before you guys go on to this, though, you're talking because I don't recall. I mean, we obviously grew up pretty poor too, to a certain point, but I don't recall the powdered milk at our house, fortunately, because that stuff was horrible. But I did have like cousins and stuff. We'd go over and they had the whole stuff. And as bad as the powdered milk was, the government cheese is phenomenal. There is nothing better than a freaking grilled cheese sandwich with the government cheese.
The only problem with the government cheese is our mom was too lazy to cover the end of it after she cut it out.
It got all hard.
Yeah, it was like plastic at the end of the cheese.
It's funny because, like, as an adult,
orange edges to that. Yeah.
I found the whole, like, did you guys see the story of like why they had government cheese and all? They bought the surplus from the dairy farmers and all that kind of stuff. There's a crazy like weird governmental like surplus thing behind the whole story, and it's kind of funny, but. Anyway.
Like a plan to prop up farmers.
Yeah, I think so. And then so the government bought it in like crazy excess surplus, and that's what started the program.
Now, in addition to the cheese, or not cheese, but the milk, Charles wanted to wash it down with these organic seaweed snacks.
Yeah, man.
They
got the wasabis. I figured.
I'm guessing you didn't have that when you were a kid.
No.
This is. So I got the sweet and salty, the wasabi.
Sweet and salty. Steve's nickname in high school.
Well, what I find it funny is these things, I open them ahead of time.
They're super light. Thin. Yeah, I don't know
if people can see this, but look at that.
So anyway, let's not get too far ahead. Let's try this government-issued dry milk here. I still call it powdered milk. I don't think it doesn't taste that bad at all. Yeah, no. It reminds me of a protein shake in a weird way is what it tastes like to me.
If Mom would have fixed it right, I don't think it's that bad. Yeah. But we all know Sandra could not read a measuring cup. I mean, it's all right.
Yeah. I don't think it's half as bad as I imagined it as Mike. And I know it's because she didn't measure shit. I know it. Like, it's one of those things with adult eyes.
Now, I'm going to say this is lactose free, right? So if you're lactose intolerant, I don't know if it is lactose.
How do you know it is? I don't know. It doesn't say that.
I don't know. I would assume it is because it's powder, but maybe I'm wrong.
Look at this, man. They got a smoothie recipe on the back. I got to tell you, like, with adult eyes, I would give powdered milk a thumbs up if you mix it right, I think is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, financially, it don't make sense. I could pay $2 for a gallon of milk, or $4 for the box of powdered milk, I'm going to buy the gallon. But in a pinch, now the powdered milk we used to get came in a big white plain box. And it had just like the milk logo on it.
I don't think it was the issue. I think it was because she didn't know how to measure and mix shit. Is what I'm going with right now.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to try the sweet and salty seaweed. On the package, it looks like a cracker, but it's not a cracker. It looks like a piece of paper.
They look like things you would get if you were going to try to roll homemade sushi.
Yeah, it's nori look to it.
Oh, this is disgusting.
Oh, that is right. That is terrible. Oh, that is awful. It tastes like long.
Consider taking a small bite of it.
That is so gross.
And Steve just shoves the whole thing in his mouth.
I did too. That is gnarly.
That is disgusting. Give me the milk.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's one of the grossest things we've ever eaten on this show. That is.
In full disclosure, I know I'm fat, but everyone knows I like vegetables.
Oh, that's brutal.
But this is. I'm gonna try the wasabi.
It tastes. I just ate the wasabi. I'll try the sweet and salt.
I'll try the sea salt. I'll try the sea salt one.
Oh, let me get the sweet and salt. This is brutal. I wish you could
participate in our pain right now.
That is. It tastes like lake water.
Again, man, why did you just take the whole thing?
Ain't that what you're supposed to do?
That's one of the grossest things we've ever eaten on the show, dude.
You know what's funny? Oh my god, it's disgusting. I think my dog ate one.
Oof.
Oh,
it tastes exactly the way you think it would. Like it tastes like, I don't know, like Swamp Thing's hand or something like that.
It tastes like I went to KP Lake and scooped something out of it and ate that motherfucker.
Ooh, that is brutal.
Oh.
Who in their right mind is eating these?
Michelle's got a lady at work that eats these every day.
Oh, shame on her. Shame on her.
It's an Arabic woman, and they say they're very healthy for you.
It's got a bunch of vitamins and stuff, I'm sure.
Well, it's only 1 gram of fiber. It ain't that fucking healthy.
Steve, maybe she was sold a bill of goods, dude. So if you had to pick one flavor, which flavor would you go with?
None. I'd go with the milk.
I'd go with the packaging it came in.
Jesus.
Oh, I just burped up a little bit. It's even worse.
Oh,
that's dude. So I'm gonna give dry milk a thumbs up. Seaweed snacks avoid like the plague. Oh my god, Steve just finished off his dry milk. Look at Steve.
I need to wash the seaweed out.
That seaweed's brutal, BB. Holy hell.
Oh, Bill,
I believe it.
Bill's probably the next week. Oh god, can't even talk. I'm gonna try to get. It's called G Fuel. It's 0 sugar. It's supposed to be like an energy type drink. You put it in a mixer bottle and you drink it. I did get some today, but I want to get a couple different flavors for everyone to try, and we'll try that next week. But man, that seaweed is still going to be in my mouth that next week.
Where did you get it? So I can go try to grab some.
It's online. You can get like a small pack of it for like $5. Just type in gfuel.com and you'll see it. Oof. It's supposed to be. It's like an energy drink, but with 0 sugar, and it's a powder. You just mix in water and drink it. So it's supposed to get.
That seaweed is brutal.
That is a rough one.
Oh.
They could have made it into like a cracker form or something. I don't know.
It feels like they just picked something out of the ocean, dried it on the sand, put it in a container,
and cut it to like about the size of a playing card.
That is gross. Ugh.
And none of them taste different. Like the sweet and salty tastes just like the sea salt one.
The wasabi one, try the wasabi one. Tastes better.
No, I'm done. I don't care.
I was trying to get you to go.
You're a lying sack of shit. Put that in my mouth. I'm gonna drive the Main Street, just punch you in the face and leave.
You're not allowed in. We changed all the lock codes.
All right, so let's get the reviews now that we're trying to get over that fucking seaweed. Woo! Charles, I know how much you can't
concentrate.
Oh, it threw me off. I know how much you love Amazon.
Yeah, huge fan.
There's a new show on Amazon. It's called Utopia. Now give me a minute, because this is hard to explain.
Okay, BV, strap in.
Now, the one thing we always bitch about is Hollywood and that doesn't have enough original ideas. I gotta say, this is pretty original. but okay. So 15
First
to
of all,
20
who's
years,
in it? I like Rainn Wilson. Rainn Wilson's
Rainn Wilson, John Pimpsack,
Okay.
the guy who played Riddler on the Gotham show. I don't know his name, and that's all I recognize. The rest are all kind of newer actors and actresses that I've
Is
never
Lisa
seen.
Bonet in it? Who's the girl behind BV's head there? Is that Lisa Bonet?
I don't know, but that girl is the ugliest girl I've ever
Oh,
seen. I don't
jeez.
think
Wow.
I mean, that picture, she's not attractive. I don't know who that woman is,
Oh.
but yeah,
Dang.
I don't know.
Shots fired.
I'm sorry, she's just ugly.
Oh, my God.
Everyone else is fine. So, 15 to 20 years ago, a comic book came out called Dystopia. And what that comic book did, it had a lot of hints at plagues and viruses that were going to hit mankind within the next 20 years. And it got a cult following. So, like, all these people love this comic. There's Comic Cons just about this comic. So the comic predicted the SARS flu. It predicted swine flu. It predicted every kind of outbreak we've had in the last 20 years. So all these young kids have a big following behind it and blah, blah, blah. So there's a rumored new book called Utopia. And Utopia is obviously going to predict what's going to happen now or in the future. And this book there's only one book of it, and it's very hard to find. Well, as you guessed it, everyone's after it. Even this evil corporation led by John Cusack wants this book. And it all ties in. It's a big conspiracy. And there's a new flu that starts getting introduced to kids, and it's killing all these kids all across the country. And in the book, it kind of gives the clues to why. And it makes sense when you watch it. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, why this book has the answers. And so it's very unique, and it's very violent. Like, tons of people die that you would expect. Like, the couple of the characters they kill off, you would assume would have been through the whole show. But it's not the case. So it's violent, it's unique, and it has a clever storyline. So it's only 8 episodes, about an hour an episode. Rainn Wilson, his character is the one that helps predict. He helps with the flu. He knows how to prevent it and make a vaccine for it.
He's the Fauci.
He's the yeah. So he ends up with the underground kids trying to help them to combat John Cusack, because Cusack wants the flu out there so that he can turn around and sell the vaccine for millions and billions.
Okay.
You see what it is? So, and this show was conceived 10 to 12 years ago. This isn't like, oh my God, we got to put this together real quick because of COVID. This has nothing to do with COVID, actually. But it is pretty timely on the release of it, though, I will say that. I guess it was a British show before this, about 6-7 years ago. They released a British show, the same thing. I like the show. It's unique. It's quirky. So I give it about a 7. I think it's a solid 7. It needs to be a one and done, though. I don't need to see season upon season of this.
Well, let me ask a question. Are they doing the trickle out, or are they giving you the whole season at once?
They gave us all at once. I've gotten...
Okay.
Out of 8 episodes, we're on episode 7, so we're pretty
okay.
close to the end. And so I just wanted to give the review now because I don't think my mind's going to change much by the end of it. It can't pull a Brockmire in one season. But very good show, very unique concept, I'll tell you that. I didn't see this coming. I saw some ads on some websites about it. And like Charles, I like Rainn Wilson. And then seeing Pimpsack in like a villain role is always different because he's usually the dopey hero of every fucking movie, so it's nice to see him do something a little different as well. And the main girl who plays Jessica Hyde is very ugly. I don't know who that woman is, but she's pretty trifling looking. But there you go. Also,
what's the character name?
Jessica Hyde, Utopia. I'm pretty sure that's not Lisa Bonet.
No, Sasha Lane is the name of the character.
The actress. Yeah. So also that debuted this week, and I'm not going to give you a full review on the season because it just started. Fargo season 4. This has Chris Rock as a black mafia leader, and he's trying to partner up with the Italian mafia. Which the only thing is weird.
What city is it taking place in?
This somewhere in Kansas. They don't tell you the exact city, but it's in Kansas. In Kansas in about 1940. So if you're a big fan of the Mafia game we just played, you may want to check this one out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, pretty solid. A couple things. Jason Schwartzman is supposed to play the second lead of the Italian Mafia. Schwartzman is the lead of an Italian Mafia. Okay, whatever. And then for some reason, Chris Rock's character, they're trying to make him look older, so they've given him this gray in his beard and his eyebrows, and it looks so weird. It does not. I don't know who's the head of the makeup there, but they got to fix that, or just don't dye it. Just leave it normal. His gray and his beard. It's almost like the commercial Keith Hernandez. Your beard is weird, man. The fucking Just for Men is really fucked up in it. But does
it go through like the ins and outs of like how their workings and all that kind of stuff? Like, what is the give me the broad stroke of what they hit on, because I'm curious. We talked about I wanted to see Fargo, and then looking at, like you said, the visual styling of this one's really checking a lot of boxes for me, and that's why I'm just curious.
Well, here's the good news. You don't have to see any of the other seasons to see
they're all separate of each other, right?
Yeah. So you could watch this season and don't have to see the other 3 seasons.
Check this out.
Yeah. So basically, it covers all the different mafia groups that have lived in Kansas City. So it starts off with the Irishmen. They get wiped out by like the Polish, and then the Polish get wiped out by the Italian, and now the blacks are coming in, but they're trying to just partner and not wipe them out yet. And this is what you're seeing is the Italians and the blacks that are about to go to war with each other.
Yeah, I definitely, it's checking boxes for me. Sounds really
good. There's other city.
What's that, BB?
That's like New Jack City.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But there's also other quirky characters in it. That's one thing Fargo has. They have a lot of quirky characters. There's this nurse who's like pulling a Kevorkian on people inside the hospital for no apparent reason, and she kills one of the mafia guys for no reason, just because she does it for shits and giggles. So there are some other quirky characters. So it's not all just based on the mafia stuff, but that's probably 80% and then 20% on the other quirky characters. So it's not all perfect, but it's still pretty good. So if you like that mafia game, Charles, I think this season of Fargo might be something you'd want to see.
Sounds good.
And I want you to see it just so you can see Chris Rock's weird gray in his beard, because you'd be like, "What the hell?" So yeah. Now the other one, so I'm not gonna give it a rating. I'm gonna wait till the end of the season to give a rating on that. I just wanted to talk about the premiere.
But are you looking forward to like the next episode? I guess is what I would say. Is not, don't give it a 1 to 10, but give me anticipation. Are you into it or what?
Yeah. So it comes on Sunday night. So me and Michelle and I will watch it Monday, as soon as we get off of work and stuff. So if it's a show I really into and I want to watch it the next day, it tells me it's a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Usually. And the premiere was 2 episodes, hour and a half each. So you get 3 hours right off the bat of the show. So
and aside from his quirky beard, Chris Rock falls into line with a very believable type of character and all that kind of
stuff. Yeah. He's not over the top or anything. He's just smooth businessman. He actually, so this is late 30s or early 40s. He comes up with a concept for credit cards, and he's already doing it in the black neighborhoods. And he tries to take it to a white bank to have them get in on that, and they just told him to fuck off because he's black and everyone's racist back then. So it's like that's pretty cool too. So
back then or right now?
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
Yeah, back then. They come up with a credit card concept in like 1938, and everyone's like, "Nah, screw off." It's like, wow, all the money they're missing on that one. So I thought that was pretty good too. So there's a lot of good stuff there. So get a chance, check out Fargo. I've always been a big fan of the show.
That's season 4, right? That's season 4. Yeah.
Currently airing on FX on Sunday nights. So, and I think they have all their stuff on demand, so you can catch up with the episodes you've already missed. So,
it's all on Hulu. It's all part of the Hulu stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's on Hulu too. So now the next one, I set my DVR to watch, and I was not disappointed. The South Park Pandemic Special. Did anyone else see this besides myself?
No. BV, is South Park falling off your radar big time?
I watch it periodically, but nothing new, and I was actually planning to watch it, but I didn't. I had a very, very busy week with work, and so I didn't see anything this week.
Oh, man. This was funny. And Cartman paid off in spades. He has a stick with a flag on it that's 6 feet long. And anyone gets near him, he starts poking him, going, "Get the fuck back! Get the fuck back!" He starts poking him. And then it was fun. It's an hour long. It was a pandemic special. At this point, like Stan's dad is almost as slapstick as Homer Simpson at this point. So he owns like a weed shop now. I haven't watched the show in a while. So it's called Tegrity Farms, and they sell weed because they're in Colorado and it's legal now. So that's like how he makes money now, is selling. And he was having a pandemic special where you buy a pound of weed, you get a free 20/20 bong. So he's standing outside just selling all this weed and stuff like that. And of course, it's typical South Park style. he might have started COVID by having sex with a bat when he's over in China trying to get weed distribution. So he's all tripping about that. But the best part is, so all the cops now don't have a job because they kind of got defunded and all that. So to get the kids back in school, the teachers don't want to teach in school because of COVID. They hire all the cops to be the teachers in the schools. And Cartman and Kyle get in a fight in class, and all the cops pull their guns out and they shoot the black kid.
Jesus.
And then they shot Token in the arm. And then they even shoot at Kyle and Cartman. And then they tell the news it was COVID. And so they shut the school down, and then just more hijinks from there. It's funny. It's totally topical too, because it's everything we're going through.
South Park's one of those things that when you hear about it after a while, you're like, man, I forget how funny that show can be.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's got that over the top South Park stuff with him having sex with a bat and and all this other stuff. But I liked it. Cartman, of course, wanted to stay home, did not want to go back to school, and then you should see this, like his online class. He pretends like his screen's freezing up, like he twitches, and then he just puts a picture up of himself and walks away and goes downstairs to eat breakfast and doesn't even do his class. So it's funny. I liked it a lot. Very highly recommend it. Probably 8 out of 10 because it's one of those things you forget about him, then you come back to him. It's like, oh man. So is it going to make me sit through a whole season of South Park? Probably not, but definitely check out the pandemic special. It's an hour. Comedy Central replays stuff constantly, so I'm going to guess.
And I want to say all the South Park backlog is on HBO Max. I could be wrong, but I think it is.
That makes sense. I imagine some streaming company bought them all. HBO Max was the winner.
Was that a seaweed burp?
Yeah, it was gross. So gross. All right, let's talk about the big game that Charles and I both had. Bill, did you ever get it or no?
No, I didn't do that this week either. So I think I'm just going to go on and download it from the PlayStation Store.
Well, I have an opinion if you're going to do that. So, and I don't want to cut Steve off, but like if you're going to, especially because, so Steve's playing it on the PC and I can't speak for, did you buy it through Steam, Steve? Where'd you buy it?
Yeah. Yes.
So I bought it, a physical copy from Best Buy. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to do the upgrade to get the complete Mafia trilogy upgrade. Right now, that path doesn't exist on the PlayStation version. So, like, you're supposed to be able to, if you bought the original, like the hard copy one, just pay the difference to get the Mafia trilogy. And right now, through PlayStation, you can't do it. So I would say just be aware that you're better off buying if you... And again, I can't speak for if you're going to dig it as much as I do, but I want the Mafia trilogy, and I can't get it for that one-time pop, and it's kind of annoying to me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you guys would like the third one. The third one's very Grand Theft Auto, but the first two, if they're like the first one,
I think I need to just bookend the story for me is what I think I just needed to do.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us about it, Charles?
So, and again, the original Mafia game came out in, I think, 2003, 2004. I could be wrong on those dates. It's somewhere in that early 2000s. And it's basically a Grand Theft Auto game with an actual story. And I talked to Steve about it midweek. The open worldness of it is only there in service of the story. Yeah, you can still do all the open worldness stuff if you want to, but like in theory, the fleshed out universe is purely there to drive the story forward. And I gotta tell you, it's one of my top 5 games on PC when it was originally released. Now we fast forward to, there's a company called Hangar 13, Steve, did this remake? Yeah.
Yep.
Did a complete ground up remake of the original and then also up-resed and kind of made definitive editions of the second and third game of the trilogy, if you will. And I gotta tell you, it goes right back to my PC days. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I play it whenever I have any spare time. Steve knows, like, I don't game as much as I used to, but this game still checks all the boxes for me. I love, love, love this game. And the remake, to Steve's point, he was talking to me midweek about it. It looks beautiful. Their new edition that they did, they took everything, wiped it all clean, but then they also brought back, they fleshed out the story a little bit. I can pick out a few things that have changed from the original, like that opening sequence and all that kind of stuff, kind of tweaked a little bit. But I gotta tell you, I love it. The only thing that I'm struggling with, and I talked to Steve again about this, I struggle with the controls a little bit. So I went from playing it on the PC back in the day with a mouse and keyboard to then to a PlayStation 4. I've got to turn aim assist way up in order for, because I'm not as accurate with a controller that I am with a mouse and keyboard. So there's definitely some sequences, and Steve touched on it again. In the jail area, I had a real hard time picking off those cops, and I don't remember having those same issues when I played the original version. But I cannot recommend this game highly enough, and they've done it complete justice. I'm sure there's some true like Mafia slappies who might have an issue with it, but I love it, and the story's great. You feel like you see that rise through the ranks of like the Mafia, and that's the whole, you start out as a cab driver into getting into the family and then into working with the family, working your way up. It's so good. I don't know if Steve has a different opinion, but I love it.
The thing is, I agree with Charles. I like the game a lot. So, Bill, you probably played Grand Theft Auto. There is a story in Grand Theft Auto, but it's all open world, so you got to drive to certain areas, and you might find the story, you might not find the story.
There's ticks on the map where
with Mafia, you start with mission 1, and as soon as the mission's over, they put you into the next mission, so you don't have to go searching around for it, which is what I like. It's a more of an old school, straightforward game where here's a stage, and there's 20 stages total. I looked it up. So
20 missions,
20 mission stations, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to drive all over the map looking for stuff, and oh my God.
You don't got to go and see Jimmy to get the money to then start a different mission and all that kind of stuff.
You don't got. They cut all that bullshit out.
Yeah.
And it's just straight. Here's your missions. This is what you do. And the story moves up. And I think that's why Bill would probably like it. It cuts out a lot of the bullshit that you don't, all that excess bullshit you don't have to do. Now, I can see where people would bitch, well, you got to pay $40 and I'm fine with it. At 45 years old, you have a lot less. At 16, I might have been a little annoyed because I want 30-hour epic or whatever. But for $40 and you get 20 missions and it's quality cutscenes, the visually looks awesome. I think it's well worth it. There is a few, like Charles was saying, stages. There's one in that goddamn abandoned prison where I didn't even know where I had to go, and I got to shoot 500 cops. And
they're really aggressive. They dialed up the AI aggression in this new version, I would say.
So that's a stage that was annoying. There's a couple of annoying stages, but for the most part, even a guy without a lot of practice at games like Bill or something can put it on easy and probably run through it. About, I'd say, 12, 13-hour game at the most.
At most, yeah, probably about 12, 13, yeah.
And go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to ask, can you be Charles, a little bit more specific about what you've been about paying the difference to get with the other versions? Because I've never had a version of the game.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is there's a multiple forms of offerings here. You can either get the definitive edition of the first game alone, or you can also get the definitive edition of the first game, the second game, and the third game as the Mafia trilogy, the definitive edition. And because I bought the first Mafia definitive edition, they said that you were going to be able to get an upgrade path to be able to get, basically buy the first one and then get the other two as like a certain amount of money. Right now, within the PlayStation Store, you have to buy the Mafia trilogy separately. Does that make sense? So you can't I bought one and I just want to pay $29 and get the other two. I can pay. Go ahead, Steve.
If you want all three, there's a bundle. You got to buy the bundle.
Correct. Yeah. Whereas again, when I initially had pre-ordered it, that bundle didn't exist. But then they said that they were going to give people the ability to do that upgrade. And I have already played Mafia 1 and 2 to completion. I'm replaying the first one. I love the first one so much in this remake. I'm going to replay the second one too, because it's got me. I can't tell you. I know Steve wasn't getting ready, but I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It looks so good. Like Steve talked about earlier, there's a few little open world janky things that happened. I had a weird load in that didn't happen quite right, but I'm sure, and Steve can definitely attest to this, most every open world game has some weird pop in that doesn't happen right, or
That's
well,
we both we both have the same glitch where there's a stage where you got to rob a bank, and after you rob the bank, you go out back and get in the car. And I got in the car, but my AI guy wouldn't get in, and I had to reload the whole game. Then you have like, yeah.
I had the issue where I was chasing the guy in the underwear, and he got stuck on the stairs twice, and I was like, "What the heck?" Yeah, the rat. Yeah.
There's a couple times you'll have to reset the game, but it has autosave, so you shouldn't have to go far back. Yeah. I give it an 8. I still think the vehicles are a little clunky, even though I know they're supposed to be older. And the other thing I noticed, except for the race car, which is ridiculously fast, all of them had like different stats and speeds, but all of them felt like the same speed, the same handle.
Yeah, and the only thing I'd say too is like the only thing you different is like the grippiness of it is what I would notice. And there was a handful of missions though that I can still remember, and I can still remember them being very frustrating. Yeah, there's a handful where I'm like, ah. So I love it.
Just a side note, great game. But the Georgia game, they just scored. They're up 7-0. It looks like that stadium's half full there.
Oh, jeez.
It does.
This is between the
lot of people.
It's like it's more than half full.
Between the hedgerows or whatever.
There's a lot of people there. But anyways.
But to the point for the show, we'd give it like an 8.5 between me and Steve. I can't say enough of it, and especially if you played the first one or were aware of the first one. Man, it's so good. So I love it.
I feel Bill will like it because you don't have to drive all over a goddamn map looking for things. It's like, here's your mission, here's your next mission. It's pretty straightforward. You don't have to do all the bullshit that Grand Theft Auto you have to do on.
Well, with Grand Theft Auto, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
One of the things about Grand Theft Auto I enjoyed was that I could enjoy playing around with it, even if I wasn't trying to do a mission to move forward to win the game. You could just walk around, find some kind of crime, jack someone's car, and see how long you could go before the cops caught you, kind of thing. Yeah, and that was entertaining for a while too. I imagine that's probably not the case in this game.
Well, you can do that,
but the story seems better.
Yeah, you can do that, but it doesn't. Grand Theft Auto, like Steve was saying, lends itself to like a very, and they always use the term a sandboxy, where like you said, maybe today when you logged in, you just wanted to go run around on a motorcycle and see how many people you could piss off. But like the Mafia game very much goes cutscene into the mission, cutscene, whereas like there's no sandbox into find the mission, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Have you won the game yet, Charles?
What's that?
Have you won the game
Not
yet?
this version, no.
Well, when you win this version, the open world opens up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you can go back in and do the stuff Bill wants to do after you win the game.
There you go.
So yeah, that is there. It's just after the game's won.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I love it. So huge fan of it.
The stories in Grand Theft Auto weren't all that appealing to me.
They were over the top.
Well, yeah. Plus trying to find everything was a pain. So if the stories and the missions, I'm obviously a bit of a Mafia aficionado in the first place, so I'm probably more likely to get into the storylines with this than I would be Grand Theft Auto. So it'll probably be fine even if I can't go do the sandbox.
Yeah, the story makes much more sense. Like there's missions in Grand Theft Auto we got to blow up a building with a rocket launcher and shit like that. There's nothing like that in this. This is much more grounded. Feels like a Boardwalk Empire, the video game kind of like thing. So it's pretty good. Definitely, I give it 8. Charles gives it a 9. So it's high ratings all around. I played it on PC. Charles played it on PS4. It looked beautiful. I cranked the settings all the way up as far as I could on PC. It looked no stuttering. Looked beautiful. The city's alive too. A lot of open world games don't have the city alive. Like that's one thing about the Spider-Man game, at least a couple of the older Spider-Man games, where there's like no one on the street. It's like seriously, but here it's like I was running into people crossing the street all the time,
driving you nuts too. Like the trolley would come by. You're like, God damn it, trolley!
Yeah. Get this goddamn trolley out of the way. So yeah, it's very good. It's a very good game. So next we're gonna go into another one, Star Wars Squadrons. Now, I was hoping this was gonna be good. And I borrowed Charles's VR headset just for this game, and it paid off. This game is fantastic in that VR headset. I said last week, in VR, personally to me, or the week before, I think the flying is the top. That's the bee's knees for me. I love the flying in VR. It's way better than sitting there just looking at a screen. When you're sitting in a cockpit and you can look all around and see everything, That's pretty fantastic. And this game I haven't won the game yet, but it's not very long. It's only 7 hours long. So if I was gonna give it a knock, but again, they only charge $40 for this game too.
How are they? Let me ask a question here though. How are they varying the mission types? Because that's going to be the key to a game such as this. Give me some examples of mission types.
Well, I haven't got too deep into it, so I've only played 3 missions. But the first mission, Alderaan blew up. Remember in the first Star Wars movie?
I'm aware. Yeah.
Yes. That's sorry for spoilers out there.
Spoilers
for a 40-year-old movie.
Yeah.
So Alderaan blew up. So one of your first missions is there are some refugees from that planet that are in a convoy, and so you're in a TIE fighter. Your job is to shoot down these refugees.
Oh wow!
And to kill them.
Jeez.
So that's and they're at this big.
So it's told from both perspectives. This game is.
Yes. And as you play, so like the first mission, half the first mission you're a TIE fighter, and then it switches over and now you're the rebels fighting against the same TIE fighters. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. That's pretty. So you don't. And from what I understand, every mission's like not every mission, but like half the missions are Empire, half are Rebel, and you get to see the from both sides of the story. And of course, you don't just dogfight. So like even in the first mission, I had to go up against a Star Destroyer. Like I had to take out their like communication comms and then take off. So you fight against the big ships and everything. I guess there's some variety in ships. Like you get to be X-wing, U-wing, a Y-wing, and then you get to be a TIE fighter, a TIE bomber, and a couple other different ones. You don't ever get to be the Millennium Falcon or any of like Jango Fett's ship.
They kept it kind of generic for that reason. Yeah.
And the multiplayer, from what I understand, I haven't played that yet. Maybe I'll get a better review next week as I crack through it. I lost some time. But the multiplayer is kind of one of the cool missions. You got to protect your fleet. And like the objective of one side is to take out all your big capital ships, and your objective is to take their capital ships out. So like you got to get with your team. Like some of you need to defend, some of you need to attack. Kind of like that. And like once the capital ships are wiped out, the other team wins. So that's kind of cool.
Is it VR headset with controller? Is that how we're playing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I'm playing it. I don't like Bill said, I don't like the PS4 dildos, so I threw them in the bag.
Well, I mean, is that even an option? That's what I was wondering.
I don't think so. I don't know how it would be.
That's pretty complex to have on those Move controllers.
And they made this piloting a little harder than you anticipate. Like, you got to move your shields around. You got to put all, like, if you're going into a big dogfight where you got to shoot a lot, you got to up all the power in your ship to your guns, and like you're always shifting power around to wherever you need it. So it's a little harder than you would think. It's not just flying and shooting. So there's like balancing of power and stuff like that while you fly the ship.
How many hours can you get in before you get tired by the VR? What do you got there?
I'm averaging about an hour and 20 minutes.
And then you're like, tap and
my head starts getting hot. And it's like, I gotta take this thing off. Yeah, about an hour and 20 minutes. That was the first full mission. Then I did a couple practice rounds. You could do practice to get used to it. So that was pretty cool. And then I haven't touched the multiplayer yet. But
talk to me about the graphics. What do you got for graphics on it?
It's pretty good. It's not as refined. See, I haven't played it without the headset. I think they're better without the headset, but you could tell some of the textures and stuff
they knock it down a little bit, yeah,
to fit the headset. Yeah. So I gotta play it without the headset to compare them. I haven't done that yet. But Star Wars Battlefront 2, I think, looked a little better than this one does. But then again, Star Wars Battlefront 2, you were in third person with the ships. You see the whole ship. This is all first person. You can't change the camera angle, which is a little annoying because in a TIE fighter, you know how the ship is designed.
Yeah,
the window
you're in the middle.
Yeah, you don't have the X-wing's much better because it's like you could look all around. Where a TIE fighter, you only got a little bitty circle in front of you.
This is a piss poor design, Empire. What are you doing?
Yeah. So you realize that as you fly that damn thing.
You're like, what were they thinking?
No wonder they lost. They can't see anything. And then you got to file like a little radar that's on your corner. It's like a circle about this big. You'll see little red dots. So that's what I end up staring at most of the time when I'm in a TIE fighter. I much prefer to fly an X-Wing. X-Wings are much better.
So this game is available to play standard controller on a standard screen or VR with a standard controller, either way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Either way.
Wow.
So, and the only thing kind of sucks in the VR is when it goes to cutscenes or other things like that, it goes out of VR and it's just a flat screen. It doesn't stay in the full VR where you can look around, like when you're out of the ship and characters are talking and stuff like that. That kind of sucks because I wanted to look around while people are talking and I realized it's just a flat screen. I was like, oh, that's a bummer.
Is this a full release? Is it a $59 game?
It's 40. They're only charging 40.
40. Okay.
It's not very long though. It's only 7 hours long. So I know that going in. I have that EA Play Pro thing, and so I get the copy of the game for free. But then I rented it from Family Video so I could use your headset because I don't have a PC headset. So I had to check it out with that headset. Which I got to take that back tomorrow. So, but at least I got to taste it in the VR world. I'll probably finish the game on my PC.
But is it? Yeah. Let me ask a question. Is it a game that you're saying you should play in a VR space, or are you okay with playing it in a 2D controller world?
I mean, I'm fine with 2D, but if you have the option, I would go with the VR. It's a much better experience. I mean, I'm biased because I played that Ace Combat and I loved it. And I told you it even got my stomach a little bit. Ace Combat got my stomach a little bit because it felt more real, like coming off an aircraft carrier. Here you're in space. It's not that real. You don't. There's no real feel of stuff like that. But in that fucking Ace Combat,
Star Wars isn't real. It's real to me. Damn it! What is that?
No, sorry. But. Yeah, I highly recommend. I told you that day when we played Call of Duty, that one stage they had in VR. I was like, this hooked me right here. The flight simulator in VR is better than anything, personally for me. I know you like the Moss and the other things, but I like the flight simulators. They're pretty fucking awesome. I can sit in a chair just like I'm in a fighter pilot seat and fucking do that VR and look around and shit. That's pretty cool to me. Yeah, but. We'll see. So I give it an 8 right now. Let me finish it up next week, and then I'll give a full recap. But definitely the preferred ways with the VR. So Charles, you finally watched that weird, awkward show, Pen15.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of this HULU show. So this is Pen15, and it's 2 grown women who act like they're in middle school. Is basically it, and it's the first season did such a phenomenal job of showing you what it was like to be a teenage girl in the late to early 2000s. It was really good. It felt really spot on.
There's a butt coming.
There's a butt. And here's the butt. The second season, it got less broad stroke and went more specific. So in other words, they got into like certain things and it lost its mass appeal for me. The second season is definitely a step back for the series, in my opinion. They went into like going into wrestling, chasing boys, into like weirdly found witchcraft, and then weirdly got into exactly, and then got into like the theater. And again, what made the first season so phenomenal was like, especially watching it with Heather. She could relate and explain to me kind of how every girl goes through what they're going through. They definitely lost the whole angle into the second season because even Heather's like, I don't know from that. I don't get that. I don't, it just, it wasn't, and that to me, so like that first season for me is so awkward, so good, and just everything they do is cringy and you can't look at the screen. Then there's this season where you're just like, wait, what? And then like you heard what I just described. It was kind of a disjointed season too, because like we went from one thing to another, and it was all over. It was almost like they had too many ideas or something. I don't know. It was not as good. There's no other way to describe it. It took a huge step back. It's kind of like, what I wonder is if all these streaming shows like Orange is the New Black is a perfect example of that. Do they just eventually just kind of lose me? I don't know what else to describe other than like it went down to like a 5 out of 10. I was that kind of annoyed with it. Like it just didn't.
So you're saying it Brockmired you?
Yeah, it's not. Well, Brockmire, what you guys described was just like, holy hell! Like what happened here? Yeah, well, like Brockmire is just a wholly different. This one still had. I want to make sure I explain this correctly. It still had that that preteen teenage angst. it got that. It didn't make a huge departure in that. It just, like I said, it got almost too specific into their little wheelhouses, and it just kind of lost the plot doing that. And that was kind of my take. That first season is definitely the gold of this show, is what I would say. And then, like I said, this season, just okay, not really, and it didn't live up to the hype of the first one for me.
All right, so what you got 5? You said,
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to tell 5. And that first season is like a solid 8. That first season, and again, me and you are a little bit of a difference. I like awkward humor. Steve doesn't get it as much as I do. I love cringeworthy stuff, and that first season is so spot on with it. It just kind of lost it, and like I said, even for Heather, like, you know, it wasn't as broad stroked as I think it could have been.
All right. So that's going to do for the reviews. Utopia is pretty good. Fargo is great. South Park Pandemic is good. We got a lot of good ones this week. Mafia, we both agree on. Star Wars Squadrons, good. And Pen15 is the stinker of the week.
Yeah.
Season 2 gets a 5. I just did not dig the first. Now, speaking of awkward humor.
But did you watch it with Michelle, I wonder?
But yeah, she didn't get it at all.
Yeah, maybe she also aged out of it a little bit, too. Could have been that.
She was hung up on the why these middle-aged women are acting 13 years old.
Oh,
and I was like, I have no idea.
I think that was it. But they do if you pay attention, they do funny, quirky things with that. I don't, anyway.
I never got it. It was lost on both of us, but Charles liked it. So there you go, 5-1. So speaking of awkward humor, and I forgot to put it in the news, Borat 2 is coming to Amazon. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. I love the first one. I thought it was super good. He's going after Trump country this time, and it's going to be funny as hell. I can't wait.
It's got to be hard for him to find people that don't recognize him.
That's my thing, because like I when Heather and I watched the trailer together, I watch Impractical Jokers. Don't you watch that show too, BV? Don't you like that show?
I don't watch it regularly, but it is funny.
Yeah, I don't get how people don't recognize them as much. It's one of those things where I'm like, how do you not get pinched? I mean, maybe they just use clever editing and make it look like they never get noticed. But like, if Joe Gatto and Borat is near me, I'm immediately gonna go, dude, holy cow! Like, and that's somehow like these Trump people just don't know, and he's going after him, and I can't wait. This looks great.
It's weird that it's going right to Amazon.
It's a weird time, man. It's a weird time. We're not gonna have this argument that we have every week, but like the world is just weird right now. I mean, they don't know what to do with movies. I look at the trailers that are on my Apple TV, and like, there's no real. Did you see that stuff about James Bond got bumped all the way till April of next year? Did you see that, BV? That was like,
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, April 2021. It was supposed to be out April of this year. I'm like, dude, you're killing me with this.
And it was supposed to come out November 20th, and then they said, oh, no.
Yeah, they pushed the push. It's like, dude, you're killing me.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go to the favorite segment of everyone on the podcast, Steve's Animation Corner. And I found.
Wait, is Bergeron still on Facebook? Make sure he's there.
No, he was gone a long time ago.
Oh, darn.
Dragon's Dogma. Now, if you're familiar with this, Dragon's Dogma was actually a video game made by Capcom back around 2010, 2011 on the Xbox 360. It was a role-playing game. I was lukewarm on the game. So they made a video, basically an anime, 8 episodes, about 22 minutes an episode. What do I always say about these anime things, Charles?
What do you mean? Like they're Steve Six? What are you trying to say right now? I don't understand.
I always say they're beautiful looking, but the stories
are shit. Yeah.
Well, on top of this being the story being shit, this one has terrible voice actors on top of it as well.
Oh, it didn't even get like the Studio Ghibli treatment where you at least
the kids, the people playing the kids were just mind-numbingly bad. Hey, Father, this is exactly how one of them. Hey, Father, that was a great thing you just did. It was terrific. I'm gonna eat. Yum 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 yum. That was the voice.
Oh my God!
I was like, my head's gonna explode. So the story: a dragon comes out, wipes this guy's village out, kills him and his whole family, and then this weird girl shows up who's called a pawn. That's just her name, Pawn. She has magical abilities. And somehow revives him back to life, and the dragon's heart goes inside him. So he hears the dragon talking to him, and his quest is to get revenge on his family and drag and chase the dragon down. I don't know if he ever got to the
BB's
dragon.
chasing the dragon right now. Yeah,
I
the
don't know if
heroin
he ever
BB.
got.
What's going on? Chasing the dragon.
I only got to the 4th episode, so I don't know if he made it to the dragon because I couldn't take any more of the show. I give this a stinking 2. The show is terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Even if you're an anime fan, I mean, it looks beautiful again. The dragon looked cool, everything looked cool, but the voice acting and the bad story is a double whammy for me. It was just so bad, I couldn't make it through it. Dragon's Dogma, Netflix, a big whopping 2. So we had 2 stinkers, Pen15 and Dragon's Dogma. So, Bill, let's go to your pick of the week and recap what happened last week, Bill.
Okay, well, last week, my pick of the week was the Patriots. They were laying 6 points to the Raiders, and the game ended Patriots 36, Raiders 20. So
Mm.
victory, first one of the season. So now 1-1 on my pick of the week.
Yeah.
From a betting standpoint, as I said, I'd be putting a $10 bet on DraftKings for each game that I pick for the pick of the week. This particular one, $10 bet paid $19.10. So when looking overall for the season, in 2 weeks I am down 90 cents. So it was good to kind of get off the schneid early. This week was a little bit more complicated because, first of all, the pick I would like to take the most, I don't think is really appropriate for the segment. It's actually to pick an over on the game that I'm actually picking the line on, because I do think the over is a better bet, but people don't want to see over under. People aren't that hard. We're not that hardcore here, so we want to see winners against spreads. So I'm taking a pick there. I was very disappointed that the sports books pulled the Chiefs Patriots game from the board as soon as they announced that Scam had COVID and uncertainty about whether the game would be played. I certainly would have taken the Chiefs against a scamless Patriots, laying almost any set of points that would have been on the board.
Mm-hmm.
But had to look to another game in the NFL. The lines were not particular. I didn't see any obvious, or what felt like obvious, kind of glitches or something to take advantage of. So this one is going to be a little. I'm a little tenuous in calling it a lock pick, but we'll go with it anyway. I am taking the Cowboys, who are a 4-point favorite at home against the Browns. And from a betting line, it's the Cowboys to cover as a negative, minus 104, which means a $10 bet that wins would pay $19.70. So to give you a little bit of my little research behind this, Cleveland, we've learned 2 things about them early on in the season. One, they can't stop anybody. They are 25th in the league in points per drive allowed. So they're giving up a ton of points. They're not stopping anybody. Also, their offense is pretty much geared upon the run game. They've been using a steady dose of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and the passing game is sort of lagged behind. Odell Beckham is given very little, if anything. In fact, I'd argue half the time that other than maybe Jarvis Landry, Kareem Hunt's been their best receiver. He is banged up. I'm not sure whether he's going to play or not, so they'll be a little short or at least affected in the run game. Dallas is 10th in the league in yards per rush allowed, so while they're giving up a lot of points overall, the secondary seems to be their bigger problem. They're pretty stout against the run, so it's a strength weakness or strength there. But then at the same time, with Cleveland's defense being tough, Dallas leads the league both in passing offense and total offense. They're scoring a little over 29 points a game. So kind of putting all this together with the recognizing that the home field advantage doesn't mean quite as much this year with the limited or no fans depending on the stadium. Looking overall, with experience and overall talent, taking the Cowboys over the Browns and giving the Browns 4 points. For those that would be hardcore, though, I think if this were a little bit more of a hardcore betting thing, the over-under on this game is 56. games at the Jerry Dome, for whatever reason, tend to regularly exceed the over/under. These are both teams without particularly great overall defenses, and particularly an opportunity for Cowboys to score a ton of points. I would expect this to be a relatively high-scoring game. So I do think that if you're looking for, maybe a stronger pick, I would hope that no one's actually using this to make bets. But if they are, I think I would probably look at taking the over on 56 more so than even my pick of the week. But for the purposes of our for this segment, I'm taking the Browns or the Cowboys -4 against the Browns.
Like that? That's not a bad pick. Charles, what are your thoughts? What percentage?
First of all, anytime you hitch yourself to the Cowboys wagon, it never goes well. What are you doing, Steve? Jesus.
Sorry.
You playing with M&Ms? Like, what was that?
I got a bucket of
a
ice.
bag of marbles or something?
Yeah. I just don't like to hitch myself to anything with the Dallas Cowboys because they're so streaky. One week they look like world beaters. Ezekiel Elliott can't be stopped. Then the next week, Dak Prescott can't show up and all this kind of stuff. So I'll give him an 80% on this one. I don't like the Browns. The Browns are hot garbage. I'm not a fan of the Browns and Baker Mayfield and all this kind of stuff. And then, Chubb's a 12-year senior. So I'm going to give him an 80% on this one. I definitely am lukewarm on that one. But then again, he proved me wrong last week when I went very mild on his New England Oakland pick. So I'm a little bit more towards BV's boat with 80% this week.
Yeah, I've been down with Bill on both his picks so far this year. Over 90% on both of them. This one's a little rough because you've got the Browns only do good against crap teams, and even then they still give up a ton of points against them. And like you said, the Cowboys are almost the Lions of the South next to the Falcons. I'm going to get, you say 50% because I think it can go either way. It's 50-50.
Oh, geez,
so I'm
you're going really low.
Yeah.
I'm a little higher for him. I'm at 80, so we'll see the BV
see.
lock pick of the week here.
I like it, though. I like this segment. It gets you thinking. No college teams you wanted to take, Bill, or no college?
The problem with picking college games is that by the time we get to the segment, the majority of the games are already either over or...
Well, I mean, you could pick one for next Saturday, and then by the time we go on at 7, the game would be over.
Yeah, but the thing about that, though, is I don't want to... I mean, so many things can happen, and at this point, we don't even know whether games are going to go off because something have been...
Good point.
I don't want to pick a game a lot. I don't make these picks. I actually don't do the... I do a little bit. I take a look at the lines early in the week and then kind of check where they're going, but I don't actually take the decision on the line until earlier of the day of the show. So
anyone got a score on the Georgia game real quick? Do you got a score?
10-0
Georgia.
Oh, okay.
End of the first quarter. Yeah, I would like to do that, but it's too far in advance for me to, and I don't want to. Once I put it in, I don't want to change it. So.
All right. So there's the
Steve's very lukewarm.
Well, there's a couple teams that will routinely fuck you in the NFL.
The
Cowboys is one, and the Lions are number one.
Yeah, but the problem is Cleveland's a dumpster, man. I just don't dig Cleveland. With all the talent in the world, and they're not correcting that ship that well. I don't know, man.
Isn't Cleveland 2-1?
Yeah. What are those 2 wins against?
Washington and Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's the other dumpster fire, really.
Let me ask you this, Steve, since I understand the hesitancy with the Cowboys. I have the same thing, although I did pick them to go to the Super Bowl, which was stupid. I'll freely admit that 3 weeks into the season. But I was also looking at 2 other games. One was the Ravens at the Washington football team. And I think that they were laying, I want to say they were laying either 13.5 or 14.5.
That's a lot of points, dude. That's a lot of points.
Would you have felt comfortable there either laying the points or taking Washington with those points?
That's a big gap.
You can't go that big of a gap and that big of a spread.
Is it in Washington?
It's in Washington.
Well, not that matters because there's no stadium, there's nobody there. But I would have liked probably the Washington football team.
Dude,
I wouldn't. The problem I had with so many of the other with the lines this week is they all felt a little bit too good that like I couldn't feel comfortable. Like the other one was the Rams. I think were laying 13.5 or 14 at home against the Giants.
You can't take that many
Oh,
points.
I might take the Rams. The Giants.
Yeah, I just
I
idea
would
though
take the Rams on that one.
I'm so uncomfortable laying 2 touchdowns in the
Yeah,
NFL.
you
Though.
can't
It's in
do
LA.
it.
You're saying it's in LA?
I believe it was in LA. Yeah.
So the Giants, with no talent, had to fly all the way to the West Coast, and then I would take the Rams on that one. That might have been my pick.
No, wow.
Well, I'm gonna make a prediction right now, even though don't put no money on it. The Lions are gonna go full Lions, and they're gonna beat New Orleans and get everyone on their side, and then they're gonna lose the next 4 straight. That is my pick right now. I'm telling you right now.
Well, the Saints do have like 6 starters out for this game. I think both
Wow.
corners are out.
Lions are gonna go Lions, and they're gonna win this game that they have no business winning. That's my pick of the week.
I thought about that one too, but it's the Lions, and I've been
trained. You
over
put money on it, they fuck you.
Yeah, trained through my whole life not to put money on anything involving the Lions. So
that's a good theory. All right, so that's the pick of the week. So let's go with what to watch this week. We got some unique stuff, and of course it's October, so you're going to have some horror stuff. But the first is Dick Johnson is Dead. I put this on here because this is a very unique documentary. This woman documented the last 2 or 3 years of her father's life dying from dementia. So you get to see a look at what it's like to have dementia. And I don't know if it's Alzheimer or what, and how your mind shuts you down, and it's kind of a morbid documentary if you think about it.
Kind of a morbid documentary, documenting your dad's death.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I don't think I can watch it, but it is interesting. So I'm a no, Charles.
I'm a huge no on this one. I don't want to see someone die of dementia. No.
And BV?
Yeah, that's really. Yeah, no.
If you have any kind of documentary, Netflix is down. They don't care.
Yeah,
they're like, all right.
But the funny part is people love it. So we're in the minority, I'd argue.
Yeah. Next is Song Exploder. Now, Song Exploder is kind of like the process kind of thing. So it's John Legend. There's I can't remember the name. Tons of singer-songwriters on this. They kind of go through how they come up with music and the process they go through. And that's called Song Exploder. I've watched that show that's on NBC with my wife where they have people that sit with people that are songwriters and they come in. It's made by Adam. Why am I going so blank on this?
Adam Levine, I would assume. Yeah, from Maroon 5.
Yeah, and I realized that show bores the piss out of me, so I'm not watching this. I'm a no. Charles?
I tell you what, we've talked about it quite a bit on the show. I tend to like a behind the scenes. Everyone just assumes that you just come up with these songs, but like I think that there's a lot more crafting that happens. I think that we as the public don't realize how much work someone has to put into making those hooks and making those beats. I'm kind of interested a little bit, so I'm a yes.
And Bill?
I'm with Charles on this one. I mean, you guys know I'm into music, at least used to be really into music. But yeah, I'd like to see how this is one of those things I think I'd really like to see how the sausage is made. There are a number. I mean, I don't claim to know the entire process very well, but I do know that it's a very intricate process. There's a lot of aspects to it that you just wouldn't think of, and it'd be interesting to see how they put it all together.
One coming out for Netflix is another Adam Sandler treasure, Hubie Halloween. This looks like he plays another quirky character who's trying to save Halloween from actual monsters or something. Kevin James is in it. He plays a sheriff.
Oh, jeez.
It looks terrible.
Rob Schneider's in it. Plays a hunchback, I'm sure.
David Spade's probably in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm a big no. Charles?
No, Adam Sandler's annoying to me anymore. I'm no.
Bill?
No, yeah, that ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah. So on Hulu this month, they're really focusing on like horror and Halloween stuff. The first one they have is Monsterland. I don't know what it is. I've seen a lot of ads for it. It looks like a very horror movie based show. I'm good. I'm not a big horror movie guy, so I'm a no on Monsterland. Charles?
Same here. As soon as you said horror, I was a no.
And Bill?
What Charles said.
And then, of course, Books of Blood. This is also a Hulu movie.
Jesus,
and I believe
Hulu's all in on the Halloween.
They're in on Halloween this year. I think this is vampires and stuff. And it's a movie, and I've watched 4 Hulu movies, and they're all dog shit. So I'm no.
Yeah. I'm
Charles?
staying home and only celebrating Halloween on Hulu this year. I'm a no.
And Bill?
It's unanimous. No.
This next one's on HBO Max. It seemed kind of interesting. It's called Wild Card: The Downfall of a Radio Loudmouth. So this is a documentary on a guy who was like the Mike Valeni of New York, and then he did something that he ends up losing his job and losing everything. I don't have HBO Max, but if I did, I'd probably watch it. So I'm a no. Charles?
I have HBO Max, and it doesn't sound that interesting to me. The reason why he failed is because Howard Stern showed up in the section, and you suck.
And Bill?
Yeah. It's just, yeah, it's not interesting enough for me to go seek out the HBO Max. I think I have it available to me because I'm an HBO subscriber, but I'm not going to go out of my way to do it for this, so no.
All right, now we got a couple new games also this week besides Star Wars. Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. I played the remasters of Crash Bandicoot, and I realized
Well, hold on.
how
I need to
annoying...
pause you for a second here, Steve. So you're saying this is for PS4 and Xbox? Crash Bandicoot is no longer specific to the Sony platform.
It might be for Switch also. I'm not sure on that. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot is now multi-platform.
Yeah, he was a
Just
mascot for Sony. That's crazy.
Yeah. So he is on all systems, but I replayed those remasters and I hate them, so I'm a no on Crash Bandicoot.
It's a weird form of platforming. I never really got into Crash Bandicoot games. I think Steve's right. It's just not a thing, so I'm a no. But interesting that it's on both platforms.
And BV?
Yeah, I've never played it. I've never really had interest in playing it, so no.
Next up is a very unique concept. Well, not really unique. It's kind of following the Fortnite. Super Mario Bros. 35. Now, what happens is you play Super Mario Bros. Against 35 other people all at the same time. And as those people lose or die on the stage, they get eliminated. And the last person left wins the game. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you understand that concept?
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of being repackaged Super Mario games 6,000 times and selling it to me like I'm a sucker.
This is like their version of Fortnite or their version of like the Call of Duty Warzone.
Battle Royale.
It's like a Battle Royale, but you're playing Mario instead of shooting each other. I don't have a Switch anymore, so I'm a no. Charles?
I have a Switch, but like I said, I'm not falling for your Nintendo trappings. I'm a no.
BV?
Yeah, I don't have a Switch, but the idea of playing, Battle Mario just doesn't appeal to me, so no.
All right, that's what's new this week. So, Charles, what's happening in the UFC world?
Well, just a bit. I thought this was kind of interesting. So, UFC 253 from Fight Island took place last weekend. It's that usual UFC moves to a new location. We start off with a pay-per-view. And that pay-per-view main event was Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Now, if you look at it, and I don't know if BV can quickly pull up a picture of Paulo Costa so Steve can see him. Paulo Costa is a very ripped individual. Like, he looks like a chiseled hunk of beef, right? But what's funny is, so round 2, Israel Adesanya maintains he's style bender. He keeps the title. But what's crazy to me is what everyone's freaking out about is they think that Israel Adesanya is actually on steroids because they're calling him bitch tits now. They're basically saying he has gynecomastia, which happens from an extra estrogen from like weird testosterone issues in your body, and they're saying he's on PEDs. That's the biggest thing to come out of this. Is not necessarily, if you were to look at the two combatants that were in this main event, you would have looked at the Paulo Costa guy and immediately assumed he was the one that everyone thought was on PEDs, but that's not the case. They all think that if you look at Israel Adesanya as he's been in the UFC, his bitch tits have grown over the past few years, and everyone's claiming that he's on the juice, which is funny to me that's what comes up. Yeah, BB's got a picture of it, but I guarantee if you guys Google Israel Adesanya's bitch tits, you're going to see quite a bit of that. They went hard on this guy about it, and it's really kind of funny. I just thought it was one of those things you bring up because the UFC tests like crazy. They use USADA testing. They're very strict on their testing for PEDs and all this kind of stuff. So if he is using like everyone's claiming, I'd love to know how he's surpassing that USADA testing and all that kind of stuff. But anyway. Now,
Yeah, I'd assume the other guy is.
yeah, right. If you look at them, you're like, okay, obviously Paulo Costa's the guy that's on the juice, but no, they're saying if you look, and again, if you guys Google it, you'll see like they call him out for gyno and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty bad.
Hmm.
And then tonight from UFC Fight Island, I know Steve doesn't like when the ladies get the pugilism on. I know Steve's rolling his eyes as he is out there in Facebook land. But Holly Holmes is fighting tonight. She's fighting Irene Aldana. This is going to be a pretty good fight. I know Steve's not into it. Holly Holmes has had a few bumps in the road and stuff like that, so this is going to be a little bit of a redemption for her. I'm into it. I'm going to watch the replay because I definitely want to check out that Georgia game, but still into it. So anyway, that's what's going on at the UFC. They're over in the Fight Island in the United Arab Emirates doing their thing.
Ah, that disappointing Fight Island that we thought they'd do something cool with.
Nothing. No Mortal Kombat, no nothing.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to head into the news. And Charles, you are familiar that Xbox has a new system coming out, correct?
Yeah, in a few weeks. What they'd say in the Bombcast, 6 weeks from now, that they're all going to launch. So it's really incoming, you know.
A lot of previews/reviews have been hitting the interwebs, and for the most part, everything's been very positive. I have heard no negative. Number one thing everyone loves is the limited loading times. Like a 30 or 40-second load time on the current Xbox is now like a 9-second load time on this new system. So
I think that's
a lot
great,
of positive deals.
But if that comes at the cost of very expensive memory cards again, I'm not into that. But I'm definitely into, you know, because again, playing Mafia Definitive Edition with it installed, I still had to, every time I died, I had to wait for like that, you know, the reload to pop up and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you had a pretty long wait time on the PC, but on the PlayStation, it adds up over some time.
Yeah, it was about 20 seconds, I'd say, on the PC. I don't know how long it was on the PS4, but
yes. What are they playing? Are they playing Xbox or the new games, or what are they doing? The Series X games, or what were they playing? Or were they doing backward compatibility stuff?
Most of them are doing Game Pass stuff and backward compatibility because there's a non-disclosure. They can't really talk about all the features on it yet, so a lot of the reviews were limited to backward compatibility, loading times, and the Game Pass.
So then you got to ask to play Negative Nancy. That was a loading time on an Xbox One X game. What does it look like for a Series X game? You know what I mean? Can they pull off that same performance bump there? So, not to say they couldn't, but I'm just saying, like, you still got to like take it for what it is.
And to go along with this news, there's another rumor circling the internet. Phil Spencer, president of Microsoft, said they are not done buying gaming companies, gaming developers. And the rumor is everybody on the internet thinks it's Sega is next that they want to buy.
What IP do they have at this point?
They still have Sonic to a degree. They still have...
Okay, great.
They have Shenmue. They have
Shenmue. Like, did they have to like crowdfund the third one? You know what I mean?
They still have the Total War series is pretty huge on PC still. There's a couple others that you wouldn't know they made that they do.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get this one pretty cheap. This is not a Bethesda grab. I'll tell you that. I
mean, they can get it and pump out decent Sonic games, make him the next mascot. It'd be interesting. But they were already. Microsoft was already pretty friendly with Sega to begin with.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, so, I don't know. Are you into this at all? Does this blow your skirt up at all? Are you intrigued?
No.
I mean, it's not 1995 anymore. I mean, it's not really.
I mean, if it's more stuff to offer people, cool. But at the same time, it's like, who really cares about Sega?
Oh, man, they're going to trick out the Game Pass with Sonic 3. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Isn't Bayonetta the one that's now a Switch exclusive? I think that's a Sega game.
Oh, okay.
That's the one with that girl with the high heels. A lot of people
people like it. It's like a Devil May Cry, but a little harder and stuff. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was never a fan of it, but whatever. So now, Amazon One, this is a unique thing. It's now a checkout system where Charles, you want to live in the future, so I put this article on.
I'm listening.
You have all your information in the palm, on your palm print. So you go to like that Amazon store, you don't need you just put your hand over it and read your information.
All right. Well, let me tell you something. As someone who has a near-field communication credit card, I can't even get the tap to work at most of these retailers. I don't know if you guys have an opinion, but like I have to insert my card still all the time, even though it says I can tap. It probably only works 4 out of 5 times. I still got to sit there every once in a while and like hit it. And I don't know. It sounds great. I'm all for it. I don't want to carry a wallet. That's my next move. So I have it now where I don't have to take my keys out of my pocket. They sit in my pocket when I leave my house. My door's locked for me. I can unlock my car without pulling my keys out. I can start my car. Now the next move is how much can I eliminate out of a wallet? I'm down with that.
You gonna get rid of all those old condoms?
Well, I mean, I've already poked a bunch of holes in them already, as it was. I bought a bunch of those Vietnamese used condoms that they sold us as new, too.
You bought them in bulk?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was neat because Charles loves it. So they're trying to sell this system to random stores where you would go in, scan your hand, and it brings everything up. So how long before people are cutting off hands to steal things from people?
Now we're talking. Now we're into that dystopian future. I'm listening.
And how many sci-fi movies have we seen where they cut a guy's eye out to do the eye scanning thing? So this is only a matter of time before hand cutting is coming into play.
It's like Saudi Arabia out there. They're lopping hands off.
So this next story, I'm all for artists, right, and getting paid for whatever you draw. But I think this goes a little too far. Randy Orton, Bill's familiar with him, has a sleeve of tattoos on both arms like the Undertaker style. Well, one of those tattoos is made by a certain female tattoo artist, and his character was digitally put into the 2K wrestling games. She is suing 2K for the use of her original artwork on his arm in the game. Do you guys feel that is legal?
We have a staff lawyer on the Fat Guys in a Little podcast.
Yeah,
there's no way this can survive litigation, right? Because
well,
what are you talking about? Like, because in theory, then, so I'm a walking billboard for the tattoo artist? I don't understand.
Well, so, and this I think is going, because there was a recent opinion judgment by an Illinois federal court judge, basically that gave the tattoo artist a partial summary judgment. They give a judgment on part of the merits of the case and then allow it to go to a trial court. So this will, from what I understand, this is going to be the first sort of full-blown copyright infringement case for specific tattoos. And my because this originally goes back, I think, 2018. She reached out to the WWE when they were going to put it in the game and wanted to negotiate a price for use of the likeness, and I think they offered her like $450, so she ended up suing. And so what it boils down to is a few different, and I'll try to not get too deep in the weeds on this. So on one level, WWE is going to say, and was it Take-Two? Is that the software company that makes the game?
Yeah, yes.
So they're going to come out and they're going to say, well, WWE is going to say, well, first of all, we own the rights to Randy Orton's likeness, and this includes his appearance. They're also going to say that to the extent that they have that what's her name, Alexander, I can't remember her first name, Catherine, I think, Alexander, the tattoo artist, to the extent that she holds a license to the images that are, and I think it's like 6 tattoos on his arms that she did. To the extent that they hold, that she would hold a copyright for that, that they would be still able to use it under what's called the fair use doctrine, which is basically something that just states that it's a legal doctrine that allows like freedom of expression. It lets you use unlicensed, certain copyrighted things without license in certain circumstances. It's commonly used for things like, showing search engines or commentary, parody, that sort of thing, where you might be referencing things that are copyrighted, but you're not actually considered to be infringing on them. And what it's really going to boil down to there is whether or not, by putting the tattoos on his arms, she gave Orton a license to display and own. I mean, it really goes on who owns the image on the tattoo. It was actually, there was a similar case with Take-Two with the NBA over some tattoos that were a tattoo artist that said that he did them for, I think it was like LeBron and a couple other players. And in that case, though, they agreed that it was fair use because the displays of the tattoos were small enough that they weren't really seen particularly clearly, and so they weren't really in violation. The thing is, though, is that part of the decision on the WWE side so far, and the other part is that a major port, while they're not getting the game to see the tattoos per se, a big portion of the appeal to the WWE game is the detail in which the wrestlers are shown. You know, the level of detail in their appearance and whatnot. You know, the ring entrances, their overall, you know, their gear and their look. And so it does now bring a legitimate question as to whether or not she owns a copyright to that by virtue of creating the intellectual property that's on his body, and whether or not Orton had the right to include that with his likeness and whether WWE can use it. Copyright law is, in all intellectual property law, is pretty detailed. I'm not even close to being an expert on it because most of it, well, copyright doesn't, but most IP law would require a special license that you have to have a hard science background for, like patent law, for example. It's a completely separate bar, and if you don't have an undergraduate degree in a hard science or math, then you're not even allowed to take the bar for. Like, I couldn't be a patent lawyer if I wanted to because a finance degree doesn't count. So I really have no idea, and I'm not sure that anyone's really going to know until it goes through trial. And I imagine
okay.
better.
BB said a lot of words, but
sorry.
No, you're fine. It just sounds like bullshit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I've never seen, because you don't get to put something on someone's body and now own that person's body and whatever they do with it. So if tomorrow I got a bad tattoo and I'm on YouTube and become successful on YouTube, it doesn't all of a sudden make me turn around and like owe them money. It's bullshit. It's a complete bullshit, dude.
If I did a cock tattoo on Charles's forehead,
I'm listening.
And he became a YouTube sensation for millions of dollars. I can't then turn around and try to sue.
That's my cock on his forehead. Like, that doesn't make sense, dude. I don't know.
Well,
how that works,
but at the same time, like, if you go back to other games, like, for example, a perfect example of this where it does, and WWE respects it, and it's, if you look at games that have CM Punk.
Yeah, they take the Pepsi
logo.
They
take the Pepsi logo out of it.
And the G.I. Joe logo on the other shoulder.
Yeah, the G.I. Joe, yeah. So the question is there, I mean, because that's a logo, and maybe it's because it's copyrighted and they didn't actually allow him to put it on their body, if what the difference is there. I agree, it seems a little bit ridiculous.
But to your point, though, so hold on, a Pepsi logo, when CM Punk got it tattooed, was copyrighted when it was put on there. This chick didn't apply for a copyright to this bad Randy Orton tattoo before she put it on his body. That's what this is just a crock of shit, dude. Welcome to America.
I wonder what it is. Most likely it's like a skull, right? Because he has a lot of skulls on his arm. So how can you copyright a skull?
That's what everyone's saying. Like, it's just so then he's a walking, like, constant copyright for this tattoo artist. Like, that's the choice you make now. Did she make him sign like a disclaimer that said, like, I know? Yeah. So, dude, I'm sorry. If that's a crock of shit, dude.
Yeah, and also, so he has these tattoos and whatever else. She should take it as free advertisement.
That's what I'm saying.
People look up the character, see him in the wrestling, whatever. Where did he get these tats? That's free advertisement for her, so it kind of helps her. Instead, now future games, it's gonna have all blurred out tattoos.
Yeah, it's gonna be this gray wash arm.
Yeah, it's gonna be so weird. I don't know. I know it's a slippery slope when it comes to this stuff.
But this is also, I mean, this is a lot like, I mean, it's a little different direction, but it's similar as far as the precedent sets to, like, the Ed O'Bannon, likeness for the NCAA game.
Never say that word on this podcast again. I never want to hear that guy.
Part of it, but the thing is what this could open the door to is that anytime someone's likeness is going to be used in a game, or there'll be other things that apply to that too. But if she ends up prevailing in this and it gets through, I imagine there'll be appeals no matter who wins, and it'll probably be tied up in court for quite a while, even still. But you could end up with a situation where the tattoo artist will have the right to the sort of the artistic license to what they put on other people's bodies, and the companies like the WWE that wants to have an accurate depiction of what their wrestlers look like will have to pay them, or negotiate agreements to put those tattoos in. Otherwise, they won't be able to use them. They'll have to blur them
Jesus.
or make it. And the thing is, in a WWE game, you're not going to have it like, 2K, NBA 2K, where the detail in the arms and whatnot are not so large, and the way that they focus on the players doesn't actually show you every little detail of the. But I mean, you look at the pictures of Orton in the game, and I mean, you can see those in complete detail.
So here's a weird thing that it's kind of tangentially attached to this, but like, so if you come into the hotel and you film a segment in a public space of a hotel, and there's the artwork on the wall of that hotel, and you put that into a TV show or what, that's why when producers show up and do like, for example, if we have like a football player being interviewed in a meeting room and stuff like that, they'll pull the artwork down off of the wall because they don't want to show it on TV in the background. So to your point, it's a crazy, like, who owns what, but meanwhile they sold the artwork in a store, but they would probably make the argument that they didn't sell the artwork with the intention of putting it on television, I guess. I don't know, but like, I know that exists, and like, art copyright is so weird, and like BV said, it's so nuanced, it's unbelievable. It just sounds like bullshit to me.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, how far does this really go? I mean, at what point do we draw the line and say, okay, there is a legitimate intent to intellectual property law to allow people to protect their interest in certain creations or certain products or trademarks, that sort of thing. And at what point do we just go way beyond the line, and now it's just a way for people to game the system to get over and make money?
My point, she got paid.
Yeah.
He paid her for the tattoo.
The work she put into it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, as far as that goes, she's already got her compensation. Go away. Especially if it's just like a kitten or something. She made a picture of a kitten and put it on his arm.
I don't disagree with the logic, but let me flip to show kind of the differences though here, and it's not complete apples to apples. But let me ask you this: when you're into country, when you buy Toby Keith's CD, does that now give you the right to use that wherever you want, in whatever public forum, or does Toby Keith still own the music in the CD you bought?
What do you mean? It doesn't give me the right to make multiple copies.
It doesn't give you the right to use Toby Keith's music in public. In public,
but it's not attached to Steve's body. That's a loose, like I said, algorithm or allegory or whatever the term is.
I can't copy it and sell multiple copies. No, but I can play it at Charles's wedding because he would love that.
But you can't. But you can't use it. You can't use it in something that you're going to sell for profit.
Yeah, you can't put on your YouTube channel.
And you're right, Charles. Like I said, it's not an apples to apples comparison. It's certainly like a loose analogy.
Yeah.
But the thing is that at certain levels, from a legal perspective, you can make a similar argument.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I would hope that that common sense prevails and people say, this is a little bit far, and this is a little bit beyond the scope of what the law was intended to protect.
If she made a tattoo of Randy Orton's, and then he turned around and took that same image and put it on a bunch of box of Wheaties or something and made millions of dollars selling Wheaties with her image on it, I think that's one. But just have his character in a game that he didn't even make, slippery slope. But we'll see.
So let's use the example. Let me ask the question to play a BV situation, right? What about The Rock and that Brahma Bull thing that he turned around, like you said, he kind of Wheaties boxed the Brahma Bull. He put the Brahma Bull on a bunch of stuff. So what is that? I wonder if that artist had something. Maybe next time you get a tattoo, you got to have him sign off that like I can use this on stuff. Man, it's crazy.
I don't know.
You can go into detail because, for example, she almost, I think, here has to be claiming that she created the artistic impression of this. Maybe he said, hey, I'd like something like this, and she put it together. This was my, artistic, like almost like a painting. And he said, yeah, that's cool, put it on my arm.
Her interpretation of his thoughts.
It would be different if Rock said, here's a picture of a bull head. I want you to kind of make a couple changes to this, make it look cool, put in cool colors and put it on my arm.
But then he turned around and he's got like Project Rock and all this kind of stuff. He definitely monetized the image, like Steve's saying. So Steve's argument was it's not like he took the image off the Randy Orton arm and then put it on a Wheaties box. The Rock took the bull and put it on everything. So
but he probably,
maybe he pays the artist. I don't know.
He actually got a copyright for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
So he once he gets it, once he gets the copyrights the image and sort of makes it where he has the exclusive right to show it, then he can do what he wants with it.
The problem is she's going up against Vince McMahon, who's control. Good luck to her. She's got
Godspeed to you, young lady.
Well, but she's already gotten a partial victory over WWE and Take-Two, so it's hard to tell at this point. I mean, McMahon, this is not a situation at this point that McMahon, by virtue of being rich and having certain clout in the business world, will be able to use that to dominate her. Yeah. Because if she isn't already gone, I mean, if it was just a matter of using money to have lawyers bury her in paperwork and bleed her into bankruptcy, that would have already happened. So.
All right, so we'll have to keep track of this to see what the future holds for this one. I'm very interested on this one, so we'll find out. So next up on the news, Charles and Bill, were you guys huge fans of Saved by the Bell?
I watched it. I mean, it's not like I'm aware of it with Jesse, it's just these reboots of reboots, man. What are we talking about? I
have full disclosure. I've never liked that show ever. Even back when it was aired in the 90s. Bert loved it. I was like, this is terrible. It's like a bad comedy. Saved by the Bell reboot coming November 25th to Peacock. So if I didn't like the original, I sure the hell ain't watching the
Are they going to bring back like Lark Voorhees? Didn't she like lose her mind? Didn't Lisa Turtle go flaky?
Her and Screech are not in it.
Oh,
they're only bringing back 4 of them.
Yeah, it's something like Zach Morris or Mark Paul Gosselaar. It's supposed to be the governor of California.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Yeah, she's in it. So
what about Showgirls? Is Showgirls in it?
Oh yeah, she's in it as well.
She wearing clothes?
Mario Lopez is like is a PE teacher, I think, at the same school, Bayside is what it was.
Yeah, from what I understand, Mario Lopez and Elizabeth whatever her name is.
Sure.
They're reoccurring characters and they're main stars. Where Mark Gosling, whatever the fuck his name is, and Tiffany Amber Thiessen, God, I can't speak. They're just small guest roles. They're not in the main thing. I care less. The fucking show was terrible. I don't understand the love for it.
Oh man.
I get Golden Girls. All right, that was a funny show. It was groundbreaking, whatever. But Saved by the Bell was dog shit. It was on Saturday morning.
Okay.
It was on Saturday mornings right after the I've watched it. It's terrible.
Oh, man.
Why is this show still a thing in 2020?
He's got a serious Saved by the Bell opinion.
I watched it. I mean, I didn't watch it like every week or whatever. In fact, I probably saw more of it on.
Well, fuck you, BB.
When it was out.
No, okay. Wow.
But the college years already was enough, right? Like the reboot for the college years, I think, was unnecessary. And who really wants to? Why do people like the same thing with Fuller House? I didn't quite understand. Why do you want to see these people all grown up now?
That show sucked too. Full House blew.
Oh, now we got a Full House rant coming. BB, hang on.
I didn't even mind Full House. I mean, I didn't watch that religiously either. But
Full House,
it was okay. But it was. I don't want to see like a whole new series 30 years later. That.
What's a good reboot? I would argue The Connors was okay. What do we have any other reboots that Connors is okay? Steve, calm it down. Calm it down. I didn't say it was amazing. I said it was okay. I like John Good. Anyone got any reboots that were good? Anyone?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't.
Will and Grace is terrible, but I never liked the original on that either. What else have they rebooted? Just TV shows or movies too?
And just in general, whatever you got. I mean, give me something else that like groundswell brought back.
The RoboCop reboot was terrible. A lot of people like that first Clash of the Titans that got made with Sam Worthington and Liam Neeson. I thought it was okay at best. Yeah, most of this stuff sucks.
I can't think of any TV show that
I don't know, man.
It's particularly great.
Nothing off the top of my head. If there's one that we're missing, I'll feel bad about. But right now, I'm not.
See if I can get a list of TV reboots here.
It's all dog shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess you can call The Office a reboot because it was a remake of the English version.
Yeah, but that was kind of like a remake. I don't even necessarily. A reboot would be they brought back Ricky Gervais. You know, I don't know.
Oh yeah. So
Let's see. Well, Murphy Brown. I never watched that in the first
dog
place.
shit.
Well, even the thing with the Connors, I never liked Roseanne in the first place. So
Roseanne was a good show. Connors okay.
Well, let's see. MacGyver. I didn't watch the reboot of it, but
shit.
Can't imagine it was any good. The X-Files? They rebooted the X-Files?
Yeah, for like 10
I never
episodes.
watched that either, so...
I never liked the original.
Walker, Texas Ranger?
I didn't know that was even rebooted. Jesus. All right, glad to see BB pulled up this. What else you got, Steve?
Oh, you know what? The best reboot ever is Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I guess that would be a reboot. That's more of a remake. I think of a reboot.
Well, a lot of them showed up from the original in it, though.
Yeah, I get you. I think of like a reboot as like ties to the original. Like they're still the same character. Yeah, like Danny Tanner in the Fuller House is still Full House. I'm saying like they brought it back because of a groundswell, not because they kind of reimagined it or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm right. I think they all kind of suck.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I can't argue.
Yeah.
But even the original Saved by the Bell tongue sack.
It's the moral of this show.
Wow.
All these people hold it in such high regard. And I'm like, this was a shit show in the 90s. How is it any better now? I just never understood.
Steve has definite opinions.
And all those actors from that show have been followed their whole lives like they're something. Like, they're all dog shit. The one hosts a Entertainment Weekly show. I don't know what the other guy loses his series week after week. Tiffany Amber Thiessen, who the hell knows what happened? Well, she did go to the Melrose Place or whatever.
She does a cooking show. She was on 90210 after that, which was.
Oh, okay. So she jumped somewhere, but whatever.
Then she disappeared, then did like TV movies for a while.
Yeah.
Then she had a show on the Cooking Network.
Steve's got such opinions on Saved by the Bell, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Berkley basically destroyed her career by doing Showgirls.
And me and Bill went saw that and laughed because it was like watching a live lap dance. It was just like, what is this?
That was just, yeah.
So it's just like every couple of years you have to hear about these Saved by the Bell assholes. They just won't go away. It's been 30 years now. Let them fuckers go away.
Has Mark Paul Gosselaar been on a halfway decent show since the original Saved by the Bell?
He was in one of the Blackish spin-offs for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's on Next-ish.
I didn't mind Franklin and Bash on TNT that was on for like a couple
Franklin Bash. He was on one of the CBS crime shows for a while too, I think.
All right, so Steve, we're going on a whole Saved by the Bell rabbit hole. I gotta pee. Go ahead. Right. What do you got?
Final news segment. Charles, I put this on there for you. F is for Family is being renewed.
This is great news.
Final season though.
Oh, will be?
Yes. But 5 seasons is good.
I love that show. That show's gold. Anyone should watch that show. I love it.
So they'll give us the 5 seasons, and 10 years from now they'll reboot it.
Steve, like this show was shit when I watched it.
No, I actually like F is for Family. Yeah. But anyways.
So you were gonna go into like a rant thing. I had more of a weird thing that Heather brought up, kind of just pre-show, and I'm just kind of riffing on this one because as I was thinking about it, it's kind of crazy. So we live in the city of Dearborn. And the city of Dearborn is now Dearborn.
You say it like
Dearborn.
The city of Dearborn is now discouraging and telling you not to go trick-or-treating. And now Heather is on one of these discussion boards. These parents are losing their goddamn marbles over these kids going trick-or-treating. And I'm like, who was going to send their kid to stranger houses to get shitty candy you could buy for like $8 and not have to worry about a $100 doctor bill? I don't understand who's losing sleep over Halloween getting canceled. I don't know.
I'm not.
Oddly enough, they just announced in the town I live in, Bolingbrook in Illinois, that trick-or-treating is on.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
They give you from the hours of 3 to 7 p.m. I think it's on a Saturday this year.
I'm not doing it. We're not decorating the outside of the house.
There are things about like turn your porch light on if you want to be visited, and it's all sorts of guidelines. I imagine we're on the same same wavelength on this one. I have zero intention of turning lights on and having a bunch of kids and their parents walk up to the door. Now we hardly get any trick or treaters in our little subdivision anyway because it's all retirees. But I don't plan on passing out candy to any kids with all this stuff going on.
There's no way. Like I said, I told Heather a while ago, we're not decorating the front of the house this year. We're gonna make it look like we're Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know what's going to happen, but like I don't want anyone at the house. We're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. I don't understand why people are acting like. So the president of the United States just got COVID. Hey, how about a Snicker bar? Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's crazy.
If you're that worried about it, if it's that big a deal, especially if it's like a young kid, just make some kind of like home version of it. Go to the store and buy a couple bags of candy. Put some. At the end of the day, the kids only care about the candy anyway.
Yeah, basically.
Just give them the damn candy and shut up.
Do you hand out candy at your house, Steve?
No, I haven't. Ever, really.
Does
I
anybody?
go back to where, at my house?
Yeah, in your neighborhood kind of there. No.
No, not really.
No.
We don't get no kids. There's no kids around here. There was just Holly. Holly was the only kid. I mean, three or four streets over, there's a couple teenagers about Holly's age, but that's about it. It's around here. We got a bunch of old people, and eventually they're going to die off, and I'm going to get young people, and then I'll be the old person on the block. I'm going to put up a sign if you want candy, masks required.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got to tell you, there wasn't even a consideration in my house. Like, dude, no. Like, you're not going, and we're not passing out candy. And I got to tell you, the last year, I did the full-size candy bars for the first time ever because we get so few kids. I made a point to buy full-size candy bars. And like I said, this year I'm not doing it. I'm like, no.
How many kids do you get?
At most 10, maybe 12, not many at all.
Yeah, that's what I get. But that's total number of kids, not like times they come to the door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like as a group, probably 10 or 12. But you know what's crazy is if you go towards my daughter's school, which is less than 3 blocks away from my house, complete chaos. It looks like 1980 when you go out there. I'm waiting for E.T. to come by with Reese's Pieces. It's the craziest thing. So it's weirdly like just my block kind of sucks. So if it were a normal year, we would definitely give Halloween candy. I actually stay back to hand out candy. I do it on purpose because I think that if you're going to send your kid out, you should definitely also reciprocate. But this year, man, I can't believe people are upset about it. It's crazy.
People are pissed about everything nowadays, especially Saved by the Bell.
I know, Steve, man. Such opinions.
I save my anger for the most important things in life. Saved by the Bell, not Halloween.
Well, I can't imagine. I can't understand why anybody would be going to do, whether it be solicitation or trick or treating or anything. Unless you're going to someone's door to deliver something, drop it off, and walk away, then you shouldn't be doing anything that involves going to someone's house and asking them to answer their door to you.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you have a mask on or not.
Yeah.
Especially at Steve's house.
That's right.
Yeah, you do that at your own risk.
I'm telling you, man.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. We had a minor glitch halfway through the show, down network, but we got it back up and running. So you can, of course, catch us on fatguyslittlepodcast.com, YouTube, where we'll have the whole uninterrupted show. Of course, you can get it at Google Play, Apple iTunes, and all the places you can get podcasts. So until next week, this is Steve.
And Charles.
Catch you next time.